Okay, the brake reservoir is back off, and this is the O-ring I'm talking about right there. And it does fit a little loose on the reservoir. I had hoped that it would seal up once it got wet, but apparently not. So here's the reservoir. You know, sits on there like that. But it's just a little loose, and it's not sealing. So I looked all over the place, and it seems that you're expected to buy the entire reservoir body. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Those are expensive. There's a common theme here. Anything that costs a lot of money, I'm going to avoid like the plague. No pun intended. So I looked all over the place, and the only product that everyone seemed to agree on that would stand up to brake fluid is this stuff called Seal-All. It's gas and oil resistant, but people say that they advertise it as being brake fluid resistant, but I can't find anything on here that says brake fluid resistant, just gas and oil. But this is the only product that everyone seems to agree on that will actually work. So I'm going to take a chance with it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit around the edge here, and then squish it down. People have even gone so far as to say that you can put it on a surface that is wet with brake fluid and it will still seal. I'm not going to test that. I would rather give it every chance that I can. So I've cleaned this all out, and I've cleaned the reservoir out, and I'm going to give this guy a try. Worst that can happen is it won't work. There was a guy that actually wrote that he put some of that and let it dry on like a piece of paper or something, and then he soaked it in brake fluid. And he said that the brake fluid never affected it. It was exactly the same after as it was before once it dried. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and glue this up and screw it all down tight, and then leave it overnight, at least for one night, to give it a chance to set, and then put brake fluid back in there and see what happens. So also got some feedback from a fellow on the forum who said that this dust cover does indeed stay put while the wheel moves. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say, well, if that's how it's supposed to be, I'm not going to argue. There's a seal behind this guy that is a little bit loose. It's not leaking any oil, but it is a little loose, and I wanted to replace it. And as it turns out, if you buy that seal, it's hard to find, and when you can find it, it's almost as expensive as an entire seal kit. So I bought an entire seal kit from some folks in Canada, but these are all the seals that you should need for sealing up all these engine bits. I'm not going to go through and replace them all unless they start leaking somewhere. But, you know, it's good to have them, and for not just like $2 or $3 more than just the one seal, might as well, right? I did hear from a guy directly on YouTube that his disc sits that a ways on his bike too. and he didn't know what to do about it either. So he just leaves it. It's like, well, okay. I had the thought, what if I put, see, that's attached to this, and this is attached to that. So what if I put a little shim right in here to try and push that out of the way a little bit? I don't know. Finally started on the gas tank. I'm going to clean all this up. Got a replacement. New bolts for the exhaust muffler. I guess that's it for now. Okay, here is the inside of the gas tank. I've put a bunch of nuts and rocks, gravel rocks inside, but before I start tumbling it, here is kind of the before footage. It's actually really difficult to get the camera to hold still and to point it in the right direction. So this is unfortunately the best I can do right now. I've edited out the worst of it, so hope you can tolerate this without getting motion sickness, but you can see a whole bunch of crusty, crunchy rust that's been growing in the tank. A lot of interesting colors, some weird yellow deposits. This area was pretty cool. A lot of different colors. Trying to pan really slowly here. I'm finding that panning really slow makes a better image. Here's a bunch of cool colors. Hopefully that'll focus. Too close. Okay. Hopefully, yeah, that's not going to focus great. But look at all those colors. I think that's the gasoline, like sitting inside the rust pores, maybe? I don't know. There you can see a seam there on the left, one of the welding seams towards the bottom. And yeah, back to the nuts. I haven't put the rocks in yet. Oh, there's the rocks. Okay, yeah, I haven't put those in yet, but I'm gonna. And there's me. Okay, I got a little bit more work done on the gas tank. All these parts here turned out really good. This is the result of a chelating agent is a chemical that pulls specific elements out of various chemicals that have those elements in them. So in this case, in this specific case, this chelator is a chemical that pulls iron out of iron oxide. It's not strong enough to pull iron out of like chunks of iron, like steel or iron or whatever. But it can pull iron out of iron oxide, so it's an excellent chemical to use on stuff like this, where we have a nice chrome finish on one side, and then we have a bunch of bits of rust and corrosion going on the other side. It won't hurt the chrome because the chrome is made out of chromium, not iron, and And then once I took some pictures, but I don't think I showed you what the gas tank looks like now that the outside has been stripped of paint. It's still rusty and all that, but I'll go get it real quick. Okay, here it is. So yeah, that turned out pretty good. So what I've discovered is there's a lot of skim coat. I'm pretty sure that's what this stuff is here, is skim coat. This grayish stuff. And then there's some pinkish bits here and there, which I think is filler. Especially like right over here, right where this little rust spot was. Underneath that was a bunch of pinkish filler. So, and then yeah, here's a whole bunch of this skim coat. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Anyway, so I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing, because looking at it beforehand, it's like there's no dents or dings anywhere on the gas tank. It's like, wow, for a gas tank to not have dents in it when the motorcycle's this old is doesn't seem very common. It's like there's almost always at least one dent where someone dropped the bike and the handlebar squashed the gas tank, right? But I might try my hand at putting some body filler in, replacing some of this. Like, I don't know how bad this will be once I get this rust off here. But like this little spot right here, you can feel that there's still a dent there. I think what happened was I took a lot of the filler out while I was wire brushing this. What I wanted to do is use my little scrapey tool, which I flattened and sharpened a broken putty knife, and yeah, I sharpened it on one side like a chisel, and the idea was I was going to scrape all this stuff off. I couldn't find it, so I looked and looked, and I finally gave up and said, I might as well, I'm not going to find it until after this is done, so I might as well just do the thing. And it might have gone faster and easier if I had had this, but I did do it with a wire brush and lots of paint stripper. I don't think my paint stripper is very good. It's a citrus-based, environmentally friendly stuff, which means usually if it's environmentally friendly, it means it doesn't work good. And it works okay, but it says put it on, wait 10 minutes, then scrape it off. Well, after 10 minutes it dries, and then the paint is just stuck on the metal just like it was before, except now you have a mess. So you have to spray it on and then immediately start scrubbing in order to get the paint off before the stuff dries. So it's more like you spray it on and you have 10 minutes to get the stuff off. I started coating the whole tank and quickly realized, no, I'm going to have to do it in little sections. So finally got it done. And yeah, I decided to spare you all the tedium of watching me scrape paint, because if you really want to see that, there's lots and lots of people who have done gas tanks way better than me. So you can watch them. But I am pretty proud of this little guy here. He fits on there just perfect, and a little piece of duct tape will clamp that all down nice, and then that'll work great when I go to start doing the rest of the interior repair. I realized I actually took a picture after I took all this apart to reference how it kind of goes back together. So Let's lay out the parts the way I had them originally. Okay, now, bet you that works now. Oh, there we go. So this is a graphite powder in a liquid suspension. So the idea is that eventually the liquid dries out and leaves the graphite. Ooh, that immediately that immediately helps things. Okay, well, let's let that dry, give that a chance to dry, and then I'll wipe off some of the excess here, but I really don't need it. But yeah, we'll let that dry, and then the graphite should form a nice coating on there.